Guys, I know it's been a little while since I've given you any content. Quite frankly, it's been a little while since I've had the spare time and opportunity to do any work on my engine, any building. Anyways, I thought I would just show y'all this. I've kind of showed y'all a little bit about this before. I think in my eBay block GSR video I kind of showed y'all how to measure your rod journals on your crank for outer roundness, so on and so forth, blah 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 blah. Don't quite remember exactly what I did, but I knew it had something to do with rod journals and plastic gauge, and talked about it. Didn't really show you a whole lot. Anyways, what I'm doing today is measuring my main journals on the crank and then checking my block for oil clearances. So take your micrometers, right, and you're gonna set them. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get you a shot of this or not. Too much damn glare. Not enough focus. Anyways, you're just gonna put them on here, run them down until you get, it's a snug, not tight to where you can't move this thing, but you want to be able to just slide it up and down your journal where it's snug. You can feel it drag. So I can see if I can get a better shot of this. So I can push it down and go all the way down. I can pull it up and come all the way up. And then you're going to read your dial here, and that's going to tell you what your actual crank journal is at any given moment. So then after you do that, take your micrometers, set them up in the vise. Set them up in the vise is the easiest way. When you get your dial bore gauge, you're going to set it up in the vise, or not in the vise, but you're going to set it up on the micrometers, and you're going to run this in here and try to get it perfectly parallel, and you're going to watch your gauge at the same time. You're going to know you're perfectly parallel. The zero, you get your needle to zero, and you might not be at zero with your dial bore gauge initially. You've got to loosen this screw and twist your dial to where when your needle is at its lowest point, you're going to twist your dial to where zero is on the needle, like I've already done mine. See, I've already twisted my dial to where zero is right where the needle is. So once y'all get your gauge zeroed out with the micrometers like I showed you, you're going to take your dial bore gauge. Well, this is horrible lighting. Hold on. You're going to take your dial bore gauge, you're going to stick it in the hole, and you're going to rock it back and forth, and you're going to look at the smallest measurement. Started going up. I'm a little deep in. Going up. Smallest. Going back up. So my gauge reads, each mark is a 10,000th, 5 10,000ths. So every 2 marks is 1,000th. So that says that I got an oil gap or clearance of 1.5 thousandths. and do it for both sides. This side of the bearing and this side of the bearing. Went too far. And you're just gonna rock it back and forth in there until you find your smallest reading. And you can come, start on the outside and kind of rock it towards the inside. Same thing. Both sides, you're going to do each one. So you're going to measure each journal on the crank. And then you're going to measure your oil clearance of each main caps or main journals of the block, whatever the heck you want to call it, and then write it down. And that's checking your clearances and blueprinting. Like I'd said in another video, all blueprinting is the fact of writing down all your measurements and keeping a record. So anyways, here's my video on that. Next I'm going to ball hone these cylinders and put a crosshatch in them. This is crappy camera work right now. Let me flip it over and see if I can get you a little better shot of these cylinders. Excuse the dirty, nasty block here. Of course, it's gonna get cleaned. Y'all know how I do. But anyways, here's what the cylinders look like right now. This block's been sitting for hell 15 years, maybe, something like that. But anyways, this is the before honing. And yeah, guys, here's my hone. The original flex hone, ball hone. This one's an 89 millimeter, so it's a little bit bigger than what I need, but hey man, this flexible thing, it squishes down, it works great. Let's see, little tidbit of information. If you want to just crosshatch your cylinders and not really remove much material at all, I recommend the ball hone. Does a great job of not really removing stuff off the cylinder wall, but just cross-hatching it. Those ones that they're the long pad, about 3 inches long pad. You got 3 pads on there, and they're sprung. They got a spring action. Those will actually, they do a good job. They work. I'm not saying don't use them. What I am trying to say is those will actually remove slightly more material from your cylinder walls than this will, even though this is oversized quite a bit. So yep, FYI. Another little FYI, I thought about this while honing the cylinder. There's like a perfect speed, circular speed to up and down ratio, and being human, it's hard to hit that. You could strive for it. That's ideally what you want to do. But anyways, try to do that perfect ratio, and don't dry hone a cylinder. You want to use some type of lube, like some people use WD-40, some people use ATF. Don't really use a regular oil that you would use to put in your car and drive down the street, because of the additives and the anti-corrosion inhibitors and blah blah blah, all that stuff that normal oil has in it. ATF, honing oil, WD-40, drilling oil would probably work, something like that. But anyways, here's a little bit of a shot of honing. I know y'all have probably seen this. in tons of other videos, but oh crap, went too fast. Anyways, here's my rendition of it for you. And you don't have to do it a whole lot, you know, just several times up and down the bore to get a good cross hatch. And I'm probably going too slow because I'm trying to do this one-handed. Let me just stop. But anyways, there you go. Finished honing this cylinder number 1, and you can actually see that cross hatching in there pretty dang good. And I started on number 2. I'm going to go a little bit more on it, but I mean technically that's really all you need. And then I'll clean these up, you know, shoot some brake cleaner through there and get all the grit and crap out and see if I can capture that on camera, you know, how it looks after it's cleaned. Anyways, there you go.